Welcome to Ed Leedskalnin's WorkShop. This is Roy. I am starting this new Ed Leedskalnin channel because I find myself wanting to dedicate a channel all by itself to Ed's work. Now, this picture you see in front of you is a picture of Ed's old place in Florida City. That's obviously his living quarters and probably workshop down bottom. Front fence, that's the moon that he brings to the new place. That's the obelisk that he brings to the new place. And you can see the stars right there. And then he decided he was going to move his location. And he upgraded. So here's Ed's new place, and you can see you got the steps going up to his bed and living quarters, and then you got downstairs is his workshop. Over to your left is his well. This is his cookout area, which I think it was a smelting pot for melting metal. Pretty cool. And then here's Mr. Ed himself. Over here you can read what it says, and that's his electrical generator designed and invented. It was a source of power for his radio and experiments. That's a big antenna for radio. We'll come back to this picture in a little bit. This is the tripod. He uses these poles, telephone poles, 3 of them. He's got a hoist tackle system, pulley system. Then you got the infamous box up top. And what's in that box? What's in that box? It's got 2 thick cables running down the side, loose. And then it comes down and it ties down in the middle here. It comes out. You can see the cable in there and over there. And it goes to each side. Now there's a video out there on Ed Leedskalnin, and in the beginning of the video you can see there's rods drilled in through here and through there. So one question is, did he drill all the way through and put a rod? Was that a way just to connect it? I don't know. It raises a lot of questions though. And then he has a chain that comes down around the bottom, across and back up. The funny thing is, when you see him lifting it, it's set up just like this. But as soon as he gets it onto his little dolly system and he's yanking on that lever and pulling this rock, the bottom is no longer, it's the, what is it? The top is no longer connected, and the bar is still in place with the chain. So does he use that bar for magnetism in the rock? One of my major questions. A lot of people out there have raised that question on, is there a way to change the magnetic fields in stones? And leaving a bar through the center there would give you an advantage on manipulating the atoms that make up this rock. And we'll get into that down the road on Ed's studies. And we're going to pull out the atomic chart, and we're going to look at materials, silica, copper, everything that's all of our minerals. And we're going to look at their charges. And we'll get into why we're going to do that when we start talking about ground a little bit later in this video. But back to Ed's lifting. Pretty interesting, pretty interesting, pretty interesting. So, oh, one more thing. I'm going to flip over. And this has always been, I'll pan out so you can see it. There's always been a big mystery, and this is on that big wall down there, that 12-foot tall by 30 feet long wall, and it's 3 slabs, 3 feet deep. It's written on there, etched in the stone. Here on the door of the entrance, which is no longer there, this door, it's getting refurbished, I guess, shows up top being the moon, showing in the middle the sun, and showing the bottom of the earth. Now, it says ring bell. Now he has a line going through. Lot of questions. I know you guys out there been sending so many emails and different responses. Lots of questions. We need to talk about that. So we were going to get into learning to do the live streaming so we could bring different people on and raise some topics up that we could talk about, and possibly we can put them down in our to-do list for some experiments on Ed's wheel, if it applies to the wheel. But this definitely applies to the wheel. I want to give a shout out to my boy Scott Russell. Him and I have been talking about this whole door here. Ed may have used it for a cutting device that Scott shows on one of his videos. It would definitely make a heavy enough saw to get down. There's other theories out there that using muriatic acid and water would go through the stone. We'll get into that later on. And let's move on to Ed's wheel. Now, we step back a little bit here and just take a look at it. Just absorb it in, guys. This is a replica of the magnetic generator that's down at Coral Castle. I went down there time after time after time. Probably 12 times. And each time I learn something new, and I go for a different thing to find out. Whether it's a measurement, whether it's to see what was in this secret area of the cement. What was the cement made out of? Was there anything else in the cement? Did he put metal chips, copper? Did he put anything else in there? What's the bar sticking out? Why is there a key coming off the center? Why ain't there anything else underneath it? This all does disconnect and pull off. Why is there a clover up top? Why is there a ring? Why did I find a dielectric in between the magnets and the ring gear? You can see there's 2 ring gears. There's one right here with paper, and there was one right here with paper. So basically he was squeezing in these magnets. And one thing I noticed, I built it over 100 times. Finally, at some point, I got confident enough to go ahead and finish the inside, make my connections through my real stringent evaluations down there. And I was confident enough to go ahead and put it together, put the cement in, get all these magnets lined up perfectly so I can have some good clearance in between. I don't have anything set right now. I just rebuilt these guys right here. About ready to do this one. These are turned opposite ways. I gotta have good reveals going around here, because you want to have, you got to understand one thing about magnets I learned: it's not the straight on is your pull strength, it's on the outside edges. So what you really have here is this outside edge is attracted to this outside edge, so you're going to have a direct line of pull force. So when you get into its area there, it'll pull itself in, and then at this point, when this brake hits the middle there, it'll be released. The pressure on the PMH coils that I have here will be turned off from using a I'll make my own reed switch, and it'll be a magnetic pulse. So then it'll release, and then it for a second, then it breaks its field, and then it kicks on again, and then it gets to that magnetic straight line that I'm talking about, and it'll have a pull force. Now, I used to have a lot of videos. Well, not used to, but I still do have a lot of videos on my channel, Vinny St. Vincent YouTube channel. But that one really, Ed took me into a lot of different things with Tesla and just a lot of people back from 1650 on up to present day. So there's just so much research. You kind of like get into it, you take a break, get into it, take a break. You kind of get into it, take a break. Some people just fade away and don't come back. But there's something here about Ed. Long story short, back in '86, somebody gave me a book, or '88, I think it was. Somebody gave me a book, and it was this one. And there it is, Coral Castle. So, obviously, I'm 53 years old, so obviously, a long time ago. So my interest always been in Ed, but I would say 1991 is my first visit down there, and that really got me intrigued when I seen everything. I really didn't start working on the wheel until 3 years ago. All the knowledge of Ed Leedskalnin, all the knowledge of if I do any Tesla or any of the things you'll see on my other channels. So I still got Vinny St. Vincent. Then I got a Tesla channel that I'm starting, and it's Nikola Tesla, and that's all it says. And I already started it. I put a couple videos starting on there with the hairpin. But this one will be dedicated just to Ed. And what I want to do is give a shout out to Ed Leedskalnin. He just had his birthday, I think, last month. And this channel is going to be dedicated to a couple forces. And the one is the earth. The 2 is the elements. 3 is the atomic charges in all the elements, in crystals, in steel, in iron, in copper, cobalt, nickel, silica, what's in oil, why is oil here, just a lot of research. And I want you guys, we're going to do some live streaming, and at that point what I like to do is get different guests on, and we'll start topics, and that'll make our hit list for the Ed Leedskalnin wheel and different things that come along with pulling energy out of the ground. So about this system here is, I already got the wheel started on, I put it on my other channel if you want to take a look at it. It was by using 2 PMHs and the 2 car batteries. So did it, play with it, and then I took one of those breaks. In the break, I jumped into Tesla, and that's probably been about maybe 6 months now, 8 months break, 6 to 8 month break off Ed Leedskalnin. So right now, I took in so much information on Ed Leedskalnin that I felt that I needed to add more knowledge. And with Ed, even though he had the Model T Fords, he could have got high voltage, he really talks about more of magnetism and steel, and you can see it in the videos, or not the videos, but in the pictures. He likes a lot of iron. And so it's all about magnetism. So when you get to magnetism, it's about amperage, it's about kinetic energy and the ground. And when it comes to the ground, it's made up of matter, and matter becomes ground. So now you have 2 grounds that we could do studies on. Some of the things I learned with Tesla is high voltage and radiant energy and transmission through the air, but also through the ground. So why can you transmit through both? And oscillation. So it took that part of learning to come back to Ed and